Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is a frigid 27 degrees. I'm sure the guys up north are like, hey, that's nothing. It's getting pretty cold pretty early. It's supposed to be a cold winter. So that being said, I am very concerned about firewood and I am trying to get it at every chance I get because I just bought my house with a wood stove. We're doing pretty much all of our heating with the wood stove. And so we're desperate to get as much as we can. We didn't move in until October. Most people are getting their firewood back in July. We're very late to the game, trying to get as much as I can. So that brings us to the Chicago electric chainsaw sharpener. The goal of this video is to A, review this little chainsaw sharpener that I've had for a few years now and used a lot more recently because I finally have a house with a wood stove, and B, hopefully show you how to use it if you're looking to use it. So I'm going to cover kind of how to use it first, and throughout showing you how to use it, I'll probably talk to you a little bit about my thoughts on it and then maybe sum it up at the end what I think of this thing. So what it is it's set up as a grinder, and it basically has the right angle to cut standard chainsaw chains, not to cut them, to sharpen them. You will probably need to read the instructions. I don't know how thorough I will be in this. One thing that you do definitely want to know is when mounting it somewhere, which you probably will want to mount it, you could use like some C-clamps and C-clamp it to a workbench. That does work. I did that for a little while. Now I've kind of got a little chainsaw area over here that I want to keep as my permanent chainsaw spot. So you have, what you can't see probably on camera, is a little knob that adjusts lefty, loosey, righty, tighty under here. And you set your angle, which if I remember right, these chains are pretty much all at 30 degrees. So you just set that at 30 degrees that way and 30 degrees or 30 degrees that way, depending on which side of the chain you're doing. And you just go ahead and tighten it down a little bit snug. This is a chain for my Steel MS 180. So I'll go ahead and set it in here. It's another reason why you want a little bit of room from the workbench away. I might have mounted this thing even a little bit too close. Probably could have removed it a little bit further, moved it a little bit further this way toward me. Yeah, it's gonna get hung up there on the workbench. I'll have to mess with that later. So you want to set this up where the teeth are facing away from this thing. Don't have this little stopper here. Flip this side, put it on this side, and then face the teeth away from it. So we'll go ahead and back this up just a little bit. Oops, I'm going to pull it forward because I need that one right there. So what you want this grinding blade to do, which hopefully you can see it there in the video, is to just kind of barely kiss that tooth. You don't want it to go too far. You'll take off too much potentially. This is adjusted way too far forward, I'm imagining, for my Bauer saw, and we might be just about right. There is a little bit of side-to-side play on this handle that you can pull down here. You definitely want to just get it pretty close. We'll just push it a little bit further out. That's about right there. So then you'll twist this little knob back here, lock that down so it doesn't move. And then here at the top, you have this little bike style pull handle. It pulls on this cable and just locks the chain in. You'll definitely want to wear some safety glasses with this thing, and so you'll just flip it on, lock that chain in, and just touch it ever so slightly against that chainsaw tooth and pull it forward, skipping one tooth because that other tooth is not going to be set right. Now just remember, every 2 to 3 sharpenings you're going to want to go ahead and take a raker gauge and file down this raker. I don't know if I said it already, but every 2 or 3 sharpenings, just to keep that cutting depth from that on that tooth really nice and deep. I do it about every 3. That seems to work, at least so far. So I just finished with one side, so now I'm going to switch to the other. Yeah, there's the distance away from the workbench biting me again. I definitely need to move this thing out a little bit. Anyway, you just switch it over to the 30 degree, well, in my case, the 30 degree mark. You just need to make sure that you set it to the right angle and then flip it to the opposite way when you're ready to sharpen the other side. See, I sharpened that side before, and now we'll move this out a little bit, and I'll be sharpening this side. And I probably need to adjust this back just a little bit, so I'll loosen this locking nut. Send that back a little bit. Try it out. I think that's pretty good right there. One other thing that I failed to mention before, and I was able to just kind of tell because of, well, how sharp the teeth were. Not that you normally want to do that. Either take a Sharpie, that's really the best thing, and just mark one of the tops of these. You could also find the little master link on these. Some of them have, I literally could not find it on here. Or you could take a little piece of tape and put it on, well, I've got it on the opposite side here, this little piece of black electrical tape from the teeth that I'm sharpening right here. So I'll know that this one just behind this piece of tape was the first one that I did, and I can stop there. So that's one little trick you can do. Like I said, the master link, probably want to use a Sharpie. That's the easiest thing to do. I just don't have a Sharpie in here. They're in the welding shop right now. Or, you know, the piece of tape, which isn't probably the least desirable. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get sharpening again here. We'll back this up a little bit. I think I want to pull that just a little bit forward. Make sure it gets nice and sharp. You can use these little knobs to bring the chain forward, and usually I do, but it's just hanging up too much on the workbench right on that side, so I'm just pulling them through. Like I said, I might be sharpening these too much, I don't know. I'll figure it out a little bit more as time goes on. I definitely do feel like I'm getting a hang of it right now. Not that it's too much to master, that is one of the advantages to it. Alright, I did get it pulled away from the bench a little bit more. It is a little looser now. I need to get some better screws put in there to mount this thing. They work for now. This is the second chain that I'm sharpening tonight. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, just do a little bit of sharpening here on this one just to show you, now that I pulled it away, how much better it works. Shouldn't take too long. Let's adjust this a little bit closer. It's a little bit older chain, so I think there's a little bit more gone off of it. So it needs to be brought a little bit closer in. So now I can actually use these things, and it's not going to be pulling the sharpener off. Sorry, it's not going to be pulling the chain off the sharpener. Alright guys, well let's just finish off with some quick final thoughts. Obviously I'm still using this thing a couple years later, so it is a good review. You know, I'm not a guy that's just been around chainsaws day in and day out for, you know, 25 years or whatever, so I can't say, you know, how much of this is at a disadvantage to, say, file sharpening, which supposedly, if you can figure that out, that is by far the best. There are some much slower sharpening methods, like with the, I think there's like the steel guide. I don't remember what they call that thing, but it's like a newer tool, I think. It's got some plastic on it. I'll put a picture in here of what I'm talking about. They also have that Granberg sharpener, a few like that. I do have a Milwaukee rotary tool that I do use. I do take with me. I haven't used it yet. With some bits to sharpen these in the field if I need to. Anyway, so that you know, that's another option. There's plenty of different options here. They do have the still electric chainsaw sharpeners where you can hook them up to the truck battery or whatever and use them to sharpen the chains. There's lots and lots of different kinds out there. I'll just tell you that I feel like this is the fastest way. If you can get, you know, a number of chains for each of your chainsaws, stock up on them, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them, depending on the kind of wood cutting you do and how many people you have out there cutting with you and everything. I think if I could have 4 per chainsaw and just sharpen them here at home, they'll pretty much last me for as much wood as I can throw in the back of the truck. Like I said, I think that I can get pretty good sharp chains on here and chains that will stay sharp for quite a while. It does work. The thing's not a bad chainsaw sharpener at all. It's much less expensive than the Oregon thing, the Oregon sharpener. I think it's all copied after. And it does the job. It's decent. It works. Go to Harbor Freight, pick one up. I like it. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Helps the channel out. Thanks, guys, again. We'll see you in the next one.